Hello everyone, how you going and welcome back to There Was an Attempt, the place that I would kind of actually call as an anti-hero to World That Sucks, because all of these people definitely have something bad happen to them, but at least in this case we get to laugh at their failed attempt instead of actually just feeling their pain. But anyway, let's jump straight into it, shall we? So they were starting right off with there was an attempt to start barbecue night. Oh, I can already see. Well, look at him, that poor little guy. That is. Oh, I didn't hear the accent. I just absolutely know what is going on here. Look at him. Come on, Burgers, get out of here. Come on, mate. Mr. Possum is just, nah, he's not having any of that. He's just kind of camped up in his corner. And look at him. He's in kind of, I don't want any trouble kind of mode. Oh, that was actually a little bit of a growl. You don't want to get on the Possum's bad side. That might hurt and just ball you in the face at any moment. But no, look at him. He's certainly a pretty cute fella. And also, I just can't blame him for kind of camping out at a barbecue. You know, it's got kind of food remnants and it's also a little bit warm, or at least, I guess not, hopefully not too warm, but at the same time, just kind of keeps you out of the winter weather. And hey, it's a guy to said it's barbecue night, so can you blame him for want to kind of stick around for that? I don't think so. I mean, I guess depending on which way you think about it, at the same time as this being there was an attempt to start the barbecue, I feel as though there wasn't even an attempt to start the barbecue, and luckily enough for the possum, there wasn't an attempt to start the barbecue, but I certainly didn't see this guy suddenly just turn on the gas to kind of flush the possum out. Like I said, obviously it's good for the possum in that regard, but really isn't it there was an attempt to kind of start the barbecue, or was it also just an attempt to start the process of having burgers for dinner? But no, like I said, the possum is clearly a cute little guy just hanging out at the barbecue, even though he does turn from defense mode to attack mode when the spatula comes towards him. At the same time, considering these guys are nocturnal creatures, you know, I certainly can't blame them for just being a little bit grumpy in the morning, aren't we all? And so I guess in saying that, all I can really hope for in the end is that everyone got what they wanted, you know. This guy got the burgers, or the family got the burgers, and the possum just managed to kind of, I don't know, sneak a little bit of the burger, or maybe just obviously didn't manage to stay at the barbecue for the night, but at the same time just kind of managed to get a new home. There was an attempt to feed a giraffe. Oh, this one, I actually saw this one, it went completely violent, but it still gets me every single time. The fact that the parents had to tell the kid to let go, I mean, I guess the kid might just have kind of a death grip going on, but at the same time, the fact that the kid was able to hold on for that long and just kind of get thrown around by a giraffe just trying to have a little bit of lunch is honestly kind of incredible, and I wish we got to see an alternate reality version of this video where the kid just manages to hold on the entire time the parents aren't there at all, and you just see how far and how long the kid can hold on for it, even if, you know, eventually the giraffe just tires out. But no, it was definitely a 0 to 100 really quick. The fact that both parents just kind of sprung into action and like, come on man, let go, what are you doing? We're trying to hold on to you, the giraffe is nearly pulling the three of us up. Also, I reckon one of my favourite parts about the entire thing is the fact that the giraffe just not care at all, you know. It's as though it's just finding a summer branch and going, my goodness, this thing just won't break, but I'll get it eventually. Meanwhile, this kid only gets sent to the moon, and really half a second later it probably would have been out of the reach for the parents to grab onto his feet. And hey, really, they did succeed in the end of actually feeding the giraffe. Obviously it took a little bit more effort for the giraffe and actually for the parents to actually feed the giraffe than they probably would have expected, but at the same time they did manage to in the end get that leaf to the giraffe exactly how they intended. I mean, like I said, I don't know if the kid had a little bit of a different agenda considering they just managed to hold on for that long, but considering the fact that the mum also has a leaf, I can only imagine their real intention was to feed the giraffe. I mean, I'd love to see her do it and see if the giraffe can kind of pull her up as well, but you know, I guess we'll have to wait for a part 2 for that video. But hang on a second, I've just realised I've completely overlooked the fact that that branch is one of the strongest leaves I've ever seen. You know, the fact that it was able to survive a tug of war between two parents and a giraffe just pulling on it all at once is pretty incredible. So I guess you got to give it to Mother Nature in that department. Sometimes it certainly does create some pretty incredible fibers. But hey, at least in the end there you can certainly see that everyone is smiling, and I think you can also hear the kid laugh, so at least no one got hurt and everyone was kind of having a good time. And hey, you certainly never get to live that one down, let alone the fact that you actually caught it on video for millions of people to see. There was an attempt to get sprinkled. Oh no, I see what is going on there. The person is turning it off every single time the dog comes. I wonder if it's just because it makes too much of a mess and just kind of goes after it and trying to chase it, or perhaps they're just completely fed up with the fact that they're trying to fill the pool for the dog, but the dog obviously just wants to attack the water before that can even happen. But no, this one is definitely the best. So if nothing else, I guess kind of the first true there was an attempt post that we've seen so far, because as we can clearly see, the poor dog certainly gives it everything it's got, and so for it to be so ruthlessly denied like this, it's kind of just a well that sucks for the dog. I mean, it's definitely there was an attempt at the same time, so I guess we get to laugh at it in that response, because there was definitely plenty of emotion in the dog's face as it goes after the water, but really the poor thing just every single time. Also, I wonder how many times this person's had to deal with it, because they are certainly quite talented at being able to turn off the water exactly when the dog is coming past, and hey, you certainly would develop a pretty good trigger thumb fairly quickly if you had to deal with this the entire time. But hey, I guess in the end they're probably doing this because it's quite a hot day, and really the dog just running through the pool and getting the odd little bits of sprinkle that it does get is probably going to accomplish the same thing as actually kind of running it on the hose. I mean, I guess it's certainly going to be clean and quite warm just by having to sprint around everywhere back and forward doing the beep test. But look, if that's what it wants to do and it wants to kind of heat up so it can cool down, then I guess more power to it. And even though from our perspective it certainly doesn't look as though the dog's getting too much water, really I'm sure it's doing just fine just by running through the pool. There was an attempt to play a game. Oh no, whenever we see a VR video it just always turns up with someone just diving onto a carpet, or I don't know what's going to be, what's going to break, what's going to happen. Whoa, okay, well done. He actually managed to stay upright as someone actually pushed him over on the edge of a building. That is pretty impressive. Hang on a second, because the amount of people that actually just seem as though they're so in the game, you know, they just freak out because they're on some edge or something like that. I mean, I guess that's exactly what it's meant to do, but really, yeah, I feel as though most of the time it's a little bit overboard. But no, this guy simply has it together. Oh my goodness, oh no. Oh, well, I feel as though I couldn't have time saying that sentence any worse. You know, it's the fact that I literally just said, oh, look, the guy's got it together, and then he just dives head first as though he's going to go skydiving off the building into just a TV is pretty ridiculous. But man, that would have hurt so much. He full on dived. You know, we've seen plenty of people kind of do a very similar thing, but this one was just from so far away. He fully committed to like a 2 or 3 meter dive away from the building that he was supposedly standing on, where if he had done a jump like some of the other ones that we've seen, he probably would have been completely fine because he wouldn't have made the distance. I just can't ever understand how people have that much of a disconnect. I mean, like I said, I know that it is VR and I understand what it's meant to be doing, but really the fact that you supposedly have just no memory of putting on a headset and kind of going, okay, I'm going to be in VR now, because I feel as though surely regardless of how good it looks, you can actually just toggle a switch in your brain and goes, don't do things like this and just dive off a building, you know, because this is not a video game in the respect that you can just jump off buildings to no consequence like we've seen right here. You know, if you jump off a building, kind of a similar effect will happen just without as much kind of, I don't know, eventual kind of splatter. And like I said, I just don't understand how someone could be that short-footed when someone pushes them over and then also just decide to kind of jump off the building at the same time. Like the werewolf, oh my goodness, it blows my mind that someone can actually have that thought process. I mean, I guess the kind of person that has that kind of thought process probably also does a thing where they just dive off a building in VR. There was an attempt to face swap. Wait, hang on one second. What the hell am I even looking at? Oh, I can only imagine that's his wedding ring. Whoa, that is crazy that the phone has picked up the tiny little amount of supposed pareidolia on his phone compared to just a true face just right on the front cover of the book. Because even though after the face swap is done, I can certainly see how the phone can kind of see a face in it, but I just can't understand how the algorithm has picked up on fingers before it's picked up on a face. Like, it's a real human face, not some dog face or anything like that. No, it's a real face on a real book. I mean, yeah, it's in black and white, so maybe it's looking for skin tones, but at the same time, that just feels a little bit weird to be doing anyway. And even the fact that those two faces are directly next to each other, you know, you couldn't get a better face swap in terms of positioning, but no, the phone decided it wanted to choose her hand in the bottom right corner. And so, hey, you know, Stephen King certainly writes a whole bunch of fiction, or, you know, just literally a whole bunch of fiction. That is pretty ridiculous what his catalog is like. But really, I feel as though if you ever need a little bit of proof that Salvation Day isn't upon us yet, then maybe just look towards some of these face swap technology, because they like this, they certainly aren't always 100%. So I can only imagine that the Terminators are going to have to figure out that bug before they just start taking out people's hands instead of their heads. There was an attempt to have a selfie with the Mona Lisa. Oh, nice work. I mean, I guess that's annoying, but at the same time, it's more so just a perfect timing post if I've ever seen one. You know, the fact that that person just went, yeah, no worries, I'm just going to drop a little bit of a photobomb right here, don't worry about me, I won't block anything. And given the fact that they blur, I can only imagine that they certainly didn't mean to do this. You know, who just kind of walks past and hopes they get the perfect time just to kind of ruin someone's selfie? No, I can only imagine it was actually just meant to be a photobomb and not actually just to kind of take that one and only moment where no one else is around. Because I'm fairly sure it's currently at the Louvre. Yeah, there we go. And so I've just always been led to believe that it's just constantly packed, you know, no matter when you go, what time of year, whatever it is, it's just complete crowds, you know. So I feel as though even though this is obviously, there was an attempt to kind of pose in terms of taking a photo with the Mona Lisa, I also feel as though it's kind of a well, that sucks post, because this guy had his one shot or one opportunity to just get the perfect photo with the Mona Lisa and just, you know, it's ruined by a blurry hand. So yeah, I guess all I can say is I hope you took a burst, because it's certainly a bummer that you got your one opportunity just wasted like that. I mean, like I said, it's a perfect timing pose, but it's also, well, that sucks, and it's also there was an attempt, so really it just encompasses all subs in this one photo. But like I said, considering some of the photos that I've seen before at the Louvre, you would really feel quite bummed if this was the one and only photo that you would ever have the opportunity of getting the Mona Lisa with. To stop the baby from throwing the bowl. Oh yeah, feels like we all know where this is going. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, it's just got great suction. It couldn't ever possibly come off, and then suddenly the baby just kind of puts it up. Look at that. Yeah, it's suctioned down and then just pulls it right off. Never mind if I do. Yeah, look at him. Honestly, the baby takes it off so easily. You'd be forgiven for thinking that anyone actually put design and money and energy and resources just into it at all. But no, you would certainly be disappointed, because you were just kind of hoping that this thing is just going to save you hours of cleaning up and just doing all that kind of stuff. Just, okay, you know, we're going to have to feed the baby again because I just chucked it on the floor. And then for your entire hopes and dreams just to be shattered in one foul swoop, it's pretty incredible in a way. But honestly, I remember when I first saw this, I actually thought it was part of the table, and that would actually make sense, because surely then the baby wouldn't be able to get it. Unless they actually kind of start ripping the table apart, surely they would not be able to get a bowl out of it. It's actually part of the table. And so if somehow a product like that doesn't exist, then I certainly want 10% at least, or maybe just make it 20. But if it does, then that is certainly going to have to be your next step, because then what else do you do? Obviously the baby-proof bowl certainly isn't living up to its name. And so even though you're clearly trying to send a message to the baby going, ha, I finally got you, you're not going to take this one off, the baby just clearly had a different idea about the entire thing from the start. And so even though it's clearly there was an attempt from the parents' perspective, at the same time it's kind of just an absolute win from the baby's perspective. There was an attempt to break the board. Oh, no way they're getting kids that little to break the board, even though we clearly know it's going to happen. Come on, kid, you can do it. Oh, oh no, he actually jumped onto it one leg. Okay, yeah, you need the downward pressure from one leg. Oh, look at that. What the hell? Oh my goodness, he's going through every single other step in the book. I like it by now they're just going hiya, hiya, hiya. Like, it doesn't even matter. There's no energy behind the entire nothing anymore. Hey, there we go. That's a little bit more like it. That's all we need to see. I mean, it's certainly not just going through yet, but come on, kid, you can do it. You show. There we go. That's what we like to see. Finally, the kid actually managed to do it after every other trick in the book. Don't move, hands up. What is going to happen? Ooh, white belt. Oh, was that to get the white belt? Nice work. Honestly, I didn't know there was anything below a white belt. I thought you just kind of immediately, as soon as you rocked up, you were a white belt. But hey, I guess everyone's got to start somewhere when you're that little. You're certainly starting from the bottom, so why not? Wait, hang on a second. What the hell is going on here? This is crazy. What am I watching? This is the cutest little speech copy I've ever seen. Oh my goodness. It just keeps going. That is crazy. The fact that obviously she's not remembering this clip word for word and just kind of copying, but still the fact that there's kind of also choreographed to this entire speech is pretty incredible that she's actually managed to follow along the entire time. Man, I certainly wasn't expecting to see that after watching this kid kind of struggle originally to break the board, and then he obviously eventually did it. But still, seeing these two videos back to back must be the cutest little martial arts compilation I have ever seen. The fact that, look at that little kid just kind of stomping up going, oh, I'm going to get through it eventually if I kind of do it like this. And then the instructors go, no, one leg. And then he just kicks it like that. That is great. Because in that moment, he certainly didn't classify, the kid certainly only used one leg to kick it off. So I can't blame him in that regard. But hey, I guess like I said, everyone certainly has to start somewhere. And so if this is where you have to start, then more power to them. It is certainly kind of teaching them good skills, or at least if nothing else, just some good coordination to go with their martial arts skills. So even though this kid did take a few attempts to finally get through the board, and it definitely is that there was an attempt in that regard, like I said, it is definitely the cutest there was an attempt I've ever seen. But on the other hand, I feel as though in both regards for both of these videos, they did actually get there in the end. So really, is it a true there was an attempt to actually succeed in the end? I don't know. And so now finally, for the top of the month, for there was an attempt, we have there was an attempt to make a wine bottle float for TikTok. Oh no, if it's going to be a red wine bottle, is it going to fall to the floor? No. Actually, it's kind of like the VI person, where they obviously just have such a disconnect between what they're seeing and what is actually happening in reality. Really, in this case, it's even more so in real life than the last one in the VI, because surely you can feel if a wine bottle is still in your hands or not, and surely you don't want to let it go because, yeah, well, everyone knows what happens when you just kind of drop a glass. At the start here, it looked as though it was going so well, but you're going to see him go, ooh, I just don't mind me, I'm just going to drop it on the floor after the entire thing is actually done, because really, the entire bottle is completely floating in after the fact they dropped it. And so maybe in that case it wasn't actually a brain fart, it was more just kind of an accidental slip up. But no, what can I say, this one is definitely just a clean and cut. There was an attempt and it clearly failed. No mucking around with these ones that eventually kind of succeed. No, we have a clear failure. There is certainly no cleaning that up, or I guess you can clean it up, but there is certainly no recovering from that just all of a sudden. And I guess in saying that, that would certainly be the worst part about this entire thing. The fact that you failed, but failed with red wine, you've just completely stained the whites of your shoes, and I guess also the grout, and you're going to have to be cleaning up glass all under your cupboards. And so the entire time that you were cleaning up the mess, you're just going to be reminded of the fact that it was just all for a silly TikTok. And I mean, I guess that is probably the worst thing about it, you just go, oh my goodness, can't believe that TikTok got me this bad. So no, what can I say, I certainly would not want to be this guy, and like I said, just all for a TikTok, all of this mess and everything, and really you're just going, I'm never using the app ever again. But anyway, that is going to do it for the top of the month, and there was an attempt, so thank you for watching. If you did enjoy the video, feel free to do the algorithmic things down below. Let me know if you had a favorite post out of any of these. Other than that, we check out awesome posts all over Reddit, so make sure you check some of the other videos out now, or hey, maybe you just want to consider subscribing so you're not missing out on one of these in the future. But all in all, have a good one and see ya.